incoming!
I mean, it seems like the PC version, other than having a faster frame rate, actually is faster than the PS3 version.
Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure that the movement speed's like substantially faster on this one, because I went over and played the PS3 one, and it was night and day. Because I kept wondering, I was like, there's no way, this game is so fast, there's no way that people are going to be able to play it with a controller, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, the movement speed because of the mouse, I mean, you can aim faster, and theoretically you can hook up a keyboard and mouse to the PS3 version too, so you can solve that. But yeah, I mean, the game just feels slower as far as movement speed is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's like, I don't want to confuse that, so that's like a bad thing. I think it's actually
no,
good.
I mean,
it makes sense.
The funny thing was that, yeah, you actually said you kind of preferred it in a sense when you were playing it.
On this, like even on PC, it's just a little too chaotic. It's like a trade-off between being able to have the average player, or even the slightly above average player, feel that for every time he shoots, that there's a reasonable amount of time that he has a reasonable chance of hitting someone. And then when it gets too spastic, when you're too close to one another and you're moving too fast and everyone's jumping and your weapons all have like a slow rate of fire, like the link gun or something, and you feel like, hey, maybe I'm landing about 20% of my shots, then it starts to get frustrating. And you've got aircraft, you've got artillery, you've got all these super lightning quick vehicles, you have people sniping, rockets, you throw every variable in there. When you have a million ways to die and you're never clear what's killing you, it's hard to know what to do next in order to improve your play, or to know that, okay, now I know I need to take this guy out who's like hiding up here, shooting out of rockets at every vehicle that goes down the canyon.
I am liking it, but I think in a lot of ways, Unreal Tournament 3 is kind of a step back. Assault mode was my favorite mode in 2004, and what's fun about Assault mode was that, yeah, you're killing everybody essentially, but you were forced to work as a team to complete certain objectives. You can do a lot of the objectives in Unreal Tournament as a one-man Rambo, just making it through things. It's not inherent to the gameplay to finishing an objective to work as a team. And that's one of the things I think it's going to help out with the PS3 version, is that you don't need, especially on consoles, people that are using voice chat are just, calling you a wide variety of slurs and stuff. Right. So you can't, unless you're starting with a group of people that you're established with, you can't really employ any team tactics.
I mean, I think it's a fair criticism though in general, because it's like I've been playing PC and I don't see very much cooperation, and that could just be I picked the wrong game. I can't say it's categorical about the game. But it's got voice chat and it has the means to do it. It does lack something like Battlefield 2, where you're able to, or 2142, where you create a squad and you can always agree to spawn together and you know where each other's at in the world and stuff. Here, because you die so quick and you spawn so instantaneously, it's pretty easy to get separated from people, and it kind of just rush things in one after another, and it's you would kind of need a clan or something to say, hey, this is going to be our spawn point, we're going to wait, we're going to leave in a group, whatever, we're going to use this vehicle, we're going to have this, stuff like that. The Necros vehicles and stuff are fantastic. When you first go into a world and you see either the big walker going by, or someone in the little orb that has the retractable feet, and then it can put them in different configurations.
Metroid ball.
Yeah, I mean, those things look, and it can actually walk up walls and stuff. I mean, they look so good when you see them. Even the Viper, it's alt fire, and they have such excellent ideas. In the concept stage, you're like, okay, this is actually really cool. You sort of lift up and it's actually got these air brakes that fan out, and then it gives you the option to eject yourself from the seat and then turn the thing into a self-destruct mechanism and a missile, and then launch, and it will then shoot
it's a
itself.
suicide bomber.
Yeah, I mean, those things this is such a great idea, and it's I really want to have the fun playing with them, and it's just so far. I mean, an invisible, self-cloaking mine-laying vehicle, all these things. You don't see any equivalent to these in other shooters with vehicles of this category, but for some reason, I'm not getting it. It doesn't really, the game doesn't make me angry or anything, but it doesn't I feel kind of indifferent when I play it a lot, and it's to confession, it's Unreal Tournament 2004 was never my favorite game, so that's part of it. And there's always this question, well, who is it for? We're talking about the speed. Well, it's not for you. But it's you can't just say, well, you like slow games, because I don't. It's if I'm into Quake Wars, it's relatively fast. And same for, Team Fortress Classic and other games like that. So I kind of running into this thing where I'm wondering now if they're cutting to too thin of a slice for who this game's for. Is it for just this very, very small percentage of people who play shooters that want just the super cracked out speed and that kind of experience. And it could be any number of reasons for it, but for whatever the reason, there are very few people playing this game on PC online right now. On PC, if you want to go into CTF, for example, you might find 2 servers that have people in them playing. I found like right now, as I last looked, there were about 10 to 12 occupied Warfare servers. Now compare that to like 3,000 to 4,000 active Team Fortress 2 servers at any given time of the day. I mean that's a startling difference.
And I think that's indicative of the shooter market being so oversaturated right now as far as that kind of gameplay on the PC side is concerned. But on the PS3, that's one of my favorite parts, is that I don't like dealing with people online a lot, and I don't have a lot of friends that own PS3s right now except for people that are in the office. And the fact that there are bots, and there are literally no shooters on console that have bots right now.
Right.
Freeze frame moment!
But at the same time, something that Epic has done with UT3 is started making the bots talk.
Right.
And does this do this on the PC version too when
They're
you're
just
playing?
constantly taunting.
Yeah, they're basically saying like these retarded lines that people say online, and as far as I know, there's no way to shut them up.
Yeah.
So while you're playing a bot experience, which should be this sort of solo experience with these AI controlled, that whatever, they're good, they're bad, at least someone's doing something other than standing around. They're talking trash all the time and saying all these douchebaggy lines. There's like, this was the whole reason I'm playing with bots, so I don't have to deal with these people online. But they've brought the douchebag experience to the bots. I don't know, maybe it's one of those games that'll develop over time, and especially one of my favorite parts about the Unreal series is the mod community. And I don't know how much is developed yet on the PC version. I mean, it's only been out a couple of weeks, but have you downloaded any mods or experienced that at all?
I think people are trying to find an occupied server for the game that they bought until they get the other. But yeah, I mean, Epic has just been tops. They've been absolutely among the best when it goes to mod support. Some, the great mods of last gen were based on their engines and stuff. Games that became retail, like Red Orchestra, OSFront.
I'll be interested to see what happens as far as when people start incorporating licensed content or something like that. I mean, I know in previous Unreal tournaments, people have literally made like whole Halo mods in the series, and Epic has said that because Sony is hands off as far as filtering this content, that you'll see shit like that. And I'll be interested to see how that plays in the console world, because consoles have never had to deal with license-based user-generated content. That's just not the way it works. The user-generated content in the console world is like a character creation.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting because you could do theoretically, you could make, say, a Star Wars mod. You can make the equivalent of Battlefront, which is funny because that was actually a Battlefield mod before, LucasArts was like, hey, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
I remember that.
So you can actually, I don't know if that's going to be problematic for them to know that people are playing for free the equivalent of a Star Wars game on their PS3.
I mean, there's nothing like Unreal Tournament on the PS3, so I'm hoping that because it's so different, because it's a different kind of shooter, and there's really not that many options in the shooter market this fall on the PS3, especially with a game like this, that maybe their kind of relationship will be kind of symbiotic, and the PS3 community will be able to help the PC community in that respect.
Yeah, I can almost see more people buying it for PS3, which is kind of weird, but just because of that, like you said, their options are fewer. It looks great, and they know here's the game from the makers of Gears of War that was hot, and probably picking it up. They're not trying the demo and not as picky as PC guys at this point in time. So we'll see what happens to Unreal.